the vision and the obedience that Dr. Simon has for this occasion. We thank you for all of those who are here virtually, whether in D.C. or Atlanta, wherever, or right here in Detroit. We thank you for those who came out tonight. It is a beautiful night, and as we close out the autumnal season and prepare for winter is coming, we just thank you for whatever the reason, whether it's climate or whatever, we do not fail to see you as in control of all things. And so we thank you, Father, for the ability to be here. Give us eyes to see and ears to hear. Whatever it is you want us to glean from this occasion, we ask that you open our hearts, open our minds, open our spirits, come with no expectation, just ready to be filled with whatever knowledge that is going to be given to us this evening. Bless the occasion. Bless Dr. Simon, anoint her from the top of her head to the soles of her feet. Blessed that is with thy will. And we submit our prayers in your Son, Jesus Christ, our revolutionary example's name. Amen. Amen.
Our scripture is Micah 6:8. It just came to me, and I said, "Can you work with that?" And you know it. And what does the Lord require from you but to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God? I chose it. Well, it was more of like it came to me what I need to put down, because I think right now for Black women it's a call. It's a call to be active. It's a call to pay attention. It's a call to fill in some gaps and do some things that you might not have expected that you would do, but it's stuff that you would need to do. Thank you, First Lady, for that wonderful prayer. And welcome, Bible study. Hey, Bible study. If you're not part of Bible study, we have a morning, we have an evening. You can find a space. Come and learn. Come go deeper. The best part about going deeper in Bible study, you're not just learning about for yourself. You get different views and different ideas. It expands your horizon. Well, tonight, I want to do some introductions. Then I'm going to go to how I usually do openings. How many of you were here for the summertime thing? You know we do the opening, so I'm going to explain that. Then we're going to go into a small overview, because tonight I'm not doing this alone. Number one, when we talk about my sermon, not linear, but circular. Everybody's included. Everybody has gifts. And tonight, Reverend Dr. Maya Melissa Reynolds will be sharing with us tonight. Oh, y'all give her a good God bless you. I was watching Coming to America, and I thought about it. I said, give her a good God bless you, that preacher. For your introductions, I want you to give your name. Most of you go to this church, but if you do not attend fellowship, share where you go to church. I want you to tell me what your best quality is. What's your best quality? Think about it now. And don't go deep. Don't go deep. Don't go deep. You know, back when I came out of the womb. No. And then I want to know why you came and what you hope to gain. Why you came and what you hope to gain. So we'll start with you, little girl. Come on, little girl. Get up, little girl. I'm tired, so I'm just gonna be aggressively silly tonight. What's your best quality? Okay. Okay. And then why? What do you want to know while you're here? Okay. Learn something different. Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, we'll start over here. I think this looks like Denise Sims. Now look, let me say this. It is 6:51. And if you all want to hear everything we got to say tonight, y'all got to stop getting up and taking your time like this is the old people's corral. Now get up, tell me what you got to say. Yeah, let's get it going. Okay, go ahead. Okay, and you know what? I'm still at that. Are we sharing the mic world? I guess we are. Okay.
One of my good qualities I feel would be a hostess, because I feel I like people to always feel welcome and and so okay. That's it. And and I came to learn something new. I look forward to learning something new every day, like I encourage my students and my families to learn something new every day.
Oh, wait a minute. Y'all had me forget. You're supposed to say hello, Denise, right? Hello, Denise. Then go back and say hello to Jenny. Hello, Jenny. Okay. Come on.
Good evening. My name is Belindia Wilson Jackson. I'm a member here at Fellowship Chapel. I feel that one of my better qualities is my discernment and my wanting to serve. And I'm here to continue my journey in learning more about womanist theology. Just a tad.
So you're not standing
Hello,
just
Belinda.
hello, Linda. Are we passing each individually?
Well, you're not going to tell us who you are. Are you a sister?
Oh, you can.
Well, I'm Cheryl Rayford Roslyn. Hi, everyone. And I'm glad to be here this evening. And one of my best qualities, I am a public health servant. So I work with the public, and I am good at assisting. Someone needs assistance. If I see physically or some mental things, then I'm able to pinpoint that, and I will assist. And I'm here to learn
Test.
more you teach it, so you got it. So I want to learn as much as I can.
Good evening. My name is Rosalind Payne Thompson. I am a member here. One of my best qualities is I enjoy helping people. I'm here because I want to learn, and I enjoyed the last seminar so much. I'm back for some more.
Good evening. My name is Gwendolyn Tolbert. I go by Gwen. And I am a member of Fellowship Chapel. I believe one of my best qualities is helps. And when Dr. Connie says she's going to do something, I'm here.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Reverend Sharita Hardy.
She just wants one person. No, I have a reason.
Okay.
I got a reason. Go ahead.
And I attend St. Paul AME Church. And my best quality is I love to teach the
After
gospel.
we do the video.
And I'm here because I've had one class of Womanist Theology. It was an intensive, so it was short. So I came to learn more this evening. Hey! Hey!
Good evening. My name is Angela. No, I'm just kidding. That's what Rev called me Sunday. So I'm Nikki, member of Fellowship Chapel, and best quality. Wow, I'm a twin. I would just say a servant leader. You all know a lot of the work that I do, so I enjoy leading and serving. And why am I here? Because anytime I can get with my sisters, especially in this space, I'll be present. So thank you. Hey, Nikki.
Hello, everyone. My name is Monique Freeman, and I am a member of Fellowship Chapel. And one of my good qualities is nurturing. I love to nurture, whether it's taking care of someone, whether it's uplifting someone. And I'm here because I love women. We are so bad. We are so beautiful. We are so brilliant. And I think it's women that makes the world go round. Thank you.
Good evening, family. My name is Edwin, and I'm here because I have to represent for the brothers. And I like to think of that as one of my better qualities, is to come and represent. Why I'm here? Because I missed the summer session. I had to be somewhere overseas, but it was a good thing. And what I hope to gain, I just hope to gain some more knowledge. We never have enough.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mona Lisa Kelly, and I am a member here. One of my better qualities is to help others see their vision and see the best in them. The reason why I'm here is because when I was at church on Thursday, this is what I asked for in prayer, is that I wanted to come and just learn some more. And just like that, it's Tuesday. I asked Thursday, which was my birthday, and today I'm here. Yes.
Hello, family. My name is Renee Turnboer. I'm a member here at Fellowship Chapel, and I'm going to piggyback on my sister Nikki and my sister Monique. I'm in service, and I'm also a nurturer.
Good evening, everyone. I am Tanya Ray. I am a member of Fellowship Chapel. One of my best qualities, okay, what Cassie said, I'm the boss, I guess. No, I love to serve. I love to see people smile. And I'm a protector by nature, so you all are in the safest place when I'm around. I'm here because, as Nikki and Monique said, I love being with my sisters and women because I think that we are powerful, especially when we are together.
Hello, family. My name is Veronica Smith. I am a member here at Fellowship Chapel. I would say I'm a supporter. It's hard for me. If anyone comes to me and say, I need your help or need you to do something, it's hard for me to say no. And you always hear iron sharpens iron. You always hear that when it comes to men. I'm here because I love being around fabulous women, classy women. So I want everyone to think of something that we can say that we sharpen each other. So that's what I want to come up with because, like you said, we always hear iron sharpens iron. And we use, absolutely, but we want to be distinguished. We want to, have that special, yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Crystal Gardner. I think my gift is to be impactful. That's what I like to do. I like to make an impact. This is my home, Fellowship Chapel, and I'm just kind of open to whatever God gives me tonight.
Good evening. My name is Crystal Moore, and I just walked in, so what else am I supposed to say? Okay, this is not my home church. I'm a member of Rhema Church of the Living God. My best quality right now, it's caregiving. I'm hoping to just be among women because it's been a long time since I've been among you. Hey, everybody.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Weta Harding. I'm from New York City, and I'm here. I've studied under Jackie Grant, and so I'm here because I told Dr. Kanye I'd be here, and I want to see how womanist theology has evolved. My gift, to be alive.
Good evening, everyone. I am Crystal Cummings, or Queen C. This is my home church now. I would say my best qualities or gifts would be my transparency, speaking. I am a nurse, so I am, by nature, nurturing and all of that. But I would say my transparency, to be able to open up and really share and be able to see things that people have been through and hopefully be there for them. So that's what I have.
Hey, what up, though? My name is Summer Golden. Of course, Fellowship is my home church. My gift. So, yeah, that's kind of passe. Okay. So, yeah, some people would say I have many gifts. Me right now, which this is kind of just going right past that into what I'm here for, and that is I'm searching. I kind of feel like I'm in a place where I'm like, who is Summer? Why does she exist? What is my purpose? So it was a guy on Facebook recently. He said that he lost his faith and he doesn't believe anymore, and he's forgetting about God and Scripture and Bible, and he just wants to work hard and move forward. And I'm like, man, that sucks. But I feel you, though. I'm like, I don't know if I'm exactly where you are, but I might be drifting around that. And somebody put up a challenge. We're going to do a 50 push-up, 300 squat challenge for 30 days. I'm like, all right, I'm down with the challenge. And I got up, and today was day 2, and I'm like, legs hurt, but started working on the challenge. And I told myself, I was like, I don't want to be the person who says I lost my faith. I'm teeter-tottering, but I don't want to ever have to really say that. So I said, well, part of this 30 days with these squats, I'm going to add a devotional every morning. And I came across a minister, Michael Todd, and he just really slapped me in my face with the word that I got today. And part of that word was, I don't want you to give up. After you heard this word, I want you to give God 8 weeks to transform you. And I said, okay. Then I got here and they reminded me that this was happening, and I said, you know what? I'm here for choir rehearsal, but I'm always here for choir rehearsal. I'm going to go ahead and skip that and come down here. So that's why I'm here. I'm searching, and I'm looking for God to do something in me. What? I don't know, but I'm like, I'm going to go with the 8 weeks, and I'm going to challenge myself and just make it happen.
Hi everyone, how are you? I'm Tabir Alexander. Hi. Oh, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm Tabira Alexander. My home church is Fellowship Chapel, and my gift is to serve.
I'm sure fellowship recognizes some of these words. A term roughly translated to mean kindness. It's an idea which means humanness and is often translated towards the humanity of others. Philosophically, it defines the belief in a universal bond of sharing that all humanity can have. Oh, we got some red. Our humanity and my human well-being is caught up in your humanity. I can't be who I want to be or who I need to be until I know that you can be who you need to be and who you ought to be. So the beginning of every class, and it's a seminary, so it makes sense to bring Jesus into the equation. I have everybody stop and ask, how are you? What are you doing? How are you getting along? And the first time I did it, it was a class, and there was everybody was black with one white lady. And so we went around, and asked, how everybody, you got to check in with Sawubona, in Butu moment, what's going on. And she kind of, oh, I'm okay. And actually, most of the class was mediocre. People walk up to you and say, how are you doing, Crystal? And what do people say? What do you usually say? I'm good, I'm good. You might have 10 tons of baggage that you're pulling, stuff that's waiting on you when you turn around, but we just still say, I'm good. Well, later, after we started getting into it, the students started opening up. You know what? I had a day at work, them people made me sick. I'm sick of, I'm glad I'm here, but, I'm just kind of off. Or somebody would say, I was good today until the phone rang and I found out my mama's sick. I got it. White girl was sharing. She stopped and she said, I need to add something. And I don't know, Sharita, if you were in this class or not. She said the first time we did that, I was just giving just a regular, just everyday answer. You were in the class? Oh, thank you. Now, no, don't do that. I'll think you're trying to say my chin is sagging and I need a chin brace at night or something, one of them things, some cream or something. Thank you. Yeah, because people who are out there, I do want you to hear. She said, I lost my brother the morning of our first class. We buried him. She said, I didn't share because usually when people ask you how they're doing, they really don't care. She said, but now that we've started to do this, I recognize you all really do care. Because when we get off and before we close out class, somebody said, oh, by the way, Cassie, such and such, I heard what you said. We're going to be praying for you. Or if you need something, call me. Let me know. When you start to operate in community, there's such a richness about it. Such a richness. Any comment? Oh, okay, I'll take that. I was going to tell you a story about the geese, but I really want to get into what Mama Maya was going to tell you about because it's very important. She's setting up the stage for everything else. Anyway, let me get down to some rules. Teachers always have rules, don't they? Yes, we do. Sawubona and Mbutu moment. Tomorrow when you come in, you're going to take the first maybe 5 to 10 minutes. You're going to check on everybody, as many people as you can. Take the time. And guess what? Don't just do it for this class. When you leave out of here, take the time. Check on people and be present with them. Don't just be there to listen and say, oh yes. And you know what? and I don't know, I might have done this to some of you all. If I know that I cannot hear you, and you're, especially after church, there was a member who used to come to me every Sunday. And she wanted to tell me a novel worth of stuff. Bad, good, ugly, up, in, out. And finally, and I'm sitting there trying to hear, but I can't. And I finally would say, I can't hear you. I cannot hear you. I can't hear you. It's important for me to hear you, not just go through the motions. And I could have stepped there. I think the first couple times I did, went through the motions, walked away, said, I don't know what the hell she said, but she done and she happy and I'm good and she don't know I know and I don't know and whatever. So, but it's important. When you start to practice African-centered principles, things become very important. If you notice, outside of Tots Assembly and Children's Church after church, I might be standing there for a good 20, 30 minutes, one after another, talking to people, but I'm listening. You got to be present. So in this class, we check in. You're going to encourage and support each other. Now, I want you to listen to each other, and there's a difference between listening and hearing. I just explained it. You can hear somebody. Did it actually process? No. Please listen. Listen. You can agree or disagree, but you are not allowed to be disagreeable. Okay? Being uncomfortable, which is tension. If you ever read Parker Palmer's book, Healing the Heart of Democracy, he talks about tension. When you ever want to deal with something that's very acidic, something that's hard, something that, try to tell somebody something that you know you don't want to tell them. That's tension. We operate in life in tension. When you try to push it away or not address it, it doesn't get better, it gets worse. The faster you attend to something, the better it will be, no matter whether they like it or not. But you did it, you're done with it, you can move on. Tension, expect it, because through tension we grow. You grow, it's a part of growth. And don't hide and not say something because you're in community. If you don't say something, guess what? Somebody else might be losing that learning moment. God might have given you that itch to say what you wanted to say on behalf of someone who is still processing. Okay? Our village principles: anger, resentment, lust for revenge, even success through aggressive competitiveness are corrosive, and it serves no common good, and it erodes social harmony. It messes things up. We don't do that. And even though forgiveness is the best form of self-interest, it is really much more. It's the understanding that what dehumanizes you actually dehumanizes me. So when you're forgiving, or when you need to forgive, or when you've done something that needs forgiveness, it's a two-way street. You don't not gain when you forgive. But if you're not coming in the right mindset, it erodes. Then, Ubuntu is life-giving. It gives people resilience, enabling them to survive and emerge still human despite all dehumanizing efforts. Now, I said all this because we have a room full of women and 2 men. You're coming to learn about womanist theology. Theology. What does God say about women? It took a long time for us to get to the point where we would look at it from our lens, not someone else's, not accepting other people's doctrine. So with that being said, I'm going to move to there's the video. We got the video. Some of you might recognize this video because it's from one of the Womanist books, and I actually did it maybe about 3 or 4 Mother's Days ago. But while he's keying it up, I want to know, who was the most important inspirational woman in your life and why? We know got no sound. I can make something up. Can we start it again? Oh, by the way, Sandra Riley, hello. She texts me and says she's in. She's watching.
Mama Was God by Reverend Sister Ray Dora. When Mama was God, she made miracles happen in the middle of a Detroit ghetto, the center of my universe indeed. She walked on water in 3-inch heels, matching bag, with 5 of us kids in her footsteps. She taught us to fear not. Night lightning, thunderstorms, hard work, new things, good success. When Mama was God, she laid hands on us so the cops wouldn't and trifling men couldn't, healing bad attitudes and broken hearts. She made a dollar holler on the occasion of more money than month without robbing anyone of anything. When Mama was God, she blessed 2 fish and 5 loaves, or was that government cheese and canned mystery meat? She kept an open door policy, always meant that someone else would be sleeping on the living room floor. She prayed for us and others. We eavesdropped, listening for our names to be called, knowing that no weapon formed against us would prosper. When Mama was God, girl, you just like your mama, somebody said one day, when I was feeling a whole lot like God.
So I told you before you started to think about the people who inspired you. That woman that went beyond. See, I grew up, and it wasn't until I was older that I was able to connect the dots to recognize that Mama was God. That the things that she did and the way she did it for all of us. And we never felt like we were missing anything. One day I'm going to do a workshop on accepting other people's constructs, because we didn't get the everyday run-of-the-mill what everybody else was wearing. We grew up learning that we had to be responsible. We worked so hard that we had learned how to convince our neighbor friends to come work with us, okay? And they would be out there raking leaves and weeding the gardens. But they made things work. When you sit back now in your adult self and think about all of the things that your mother did, and the interesting part, because some of you are shaking your head, because she didn't do it just for you all, did she? Did she ask any questions, or did she go to seek permission? No. See, our mothers were the embodiment of what womanist theology is. How God sees black women and the beauty of black women. Not yet, not yet. That's a teaser for tomorrow. But right now, it is my privilege and pleasure to introduce to some, actually reintroduce to most of you, someone who is very active here at Fellowship Chapel, someone who is mama to more kids than the, 4 or 5 that you had, someone who will come and she's mothered me. I remember I told her once, she said, "You haven't seen the movie Malcolm X?" I'll never forget that. She liked to have a baby. What? You haven't seen the movie Malcolm X? La Mama, we've got to get the movie projector together. We're going to invite you over now. And I'm like, I read the book. Oh no, the cinematography was excellent, and it was just marvelous. And then she goes on, and I'm thinking, that's a 3-hour movie, y'all. I think I did nod off, but I hope they didn't notice. But she's a scholar. She's a spiritual woman. I've been with her when she's walked people from this side of life into their transition to be an ancestor. I've watched her take in people who were not her children, where she became God. Not that we're trying to say that we are better than the Almighty God. No. I'm saying that we're God's feet on the ground. We're to love and we're to care. And we do it so well
unappreciated in most instances. But that's how we are, mama, to everybody. So I would like you to give a rousing applause for my sister in the vineyard, Reverend Dr. Maya Lisa Reynolds.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Mama Connie. So I'll start with a brief libation. I am the daughter of Margaret Elizabeth Waterman from Evergreen, Alabama, whom we refer to as Grandma Ray Ray, who is the daughter of Mabel McWilliams, who is the daughter of Elizabeth Williams. And I am grateful. So I'll pour a libation for them today in their presence. I thank Reverend Dr. Constance Simon, and she knows, and I recognize that the Reverend Doctor is a part of a title that's been earned through academia, but the greatest title is Mama. So I also say Mama Connie, and I'm very comfortable in my own skin, position, station in life to know that I have matriculated through the halls of academia to earn a doctorate degree, and I'm Reverend Dr. Maya Lisa Reynolds, like James Earl Jones, all three names, my African name and my birth name. But Mama Maya is where I live, because for me, in the African context, Mama is the highest honor that I can be called in the community, because it means I am trusted, it means I am honorable, it means that I'm careful, that any child ever in my presence at any time, I am mindful of them. I will never think that that's not my child. I always think that is my child, and therefore I am here to love, guide, correct, and protect them. So I have the task of, I'm going to stick to the script that was given to me. I have the task of explaining the construction of womanist theology, to understand why it's important to divine ourselves and mothers as first teachers. So I love this construction. And before I do that, I want to say there's a saying, Cassie said it, when I was developing and working on my dissertation, I had a group of young women, and we did counseling because my dissertation was Womanist Theology as a Framework for Spiritual Transformation. So one thing that I would always say as we began our check-ins, the way Mama Connie did the Sabuana, that I see you. I'm not just saying you're welcome here, but I'm saying you are truly welcome here. Your presence, your thoughts, your being. I would say that we are full of value and free of judgment. I got that from Urban Bush women who I studied with in Brooklyn, New York, and in New Orleans, Louisiana, and Vincent Thomas, a great dancer. And so when we say that, when I emphasize that, when I mantratize that, when I say you are full of value and free of judgment, I value what you think and what you say, and I will not judge you. I will not put you down for the things that come up and out, because I have hopefully created a safe space. So I thank God for this safe space that has been created for us here tonight. So when we talk about womanist theology, it is a construction, because it is taking 2 or 3 or 4 ideas and thoughts and bringing them together for a scholarly academic look and examination of, and within that academic examination, it says the body of work that is Black women, our thoughts, the way we function in the world, the way we cook, clean, organize, think, and be is valid for academia. I mean, that's really when we get to the end, when we sift it out. It says that the way we enter the world, the way we engage with God, the way we engage our faith is valid for academia. Now, the academicians, I have to give honor to them for the way that they constructed it and why. Dolores Williams is considered the mother of womanist theology. She wrote this book, Sisters in the Wilderness, The Challenge of Womanist Talk. And her muse is Hagar. She starts with Hagar. You notice when I preach, sometimes I'll say Hagar because Hagar is the black woman in the wilderness who was in one chapter. She was Abraham's and Sarah's slave, servant, maid, wife, mother, slave. She was defined by her community based on their need for her body. Her body was not her own, and she was defined by their whims. She becomes Dolores Williams' muse in her conversation with God. Why would God tell her to go back? She ran away. Sarah was mistreating her. She did what Sarah told her to do. She had this baby by Sarah's husband. They said that was her husband, you know, when she was with him, right? They had to give her the title because you didn't want to say nothing bad about Abraham. And now she went out into the wilderness, and the angel of the Lord told her to go back. And so Dolores Williams struggles with, why would we go back to our suffering? Where is a message of God in that? And so she becomes the mother of womanist theology. She, Katie Cannon, and Dolores Grant. Yes? Jackie Grant. Hold on. Yes. Okay. I got it here in my notes. They are students of the father of black liberation theology, James Cone. And they challenged him. And he was a great man of thought because he was willing to accept their challenge and open the sphere of his own influence and become accepting and a womanist himself. If you interview Frederick G. Haynes III, he will say that he's a womanist. It's because James Cone was challenged by his women students who said, black liberation without a woman's voice is oppression in blackface. And so they challenged him. They said, yes, black liberation, yes. And many people in the black liberation movement would say, put the black woman's needs, desires, wants on hold for the cause of the people. And it was usually led in a very patriarchal way, but the work, Ms. Robinson, down at the busboy cotton, in Alabama, the work was being done by women. And if we even go back to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the work, the message, the meals, the hospitality was being done by women. So the word womanist comes from Alice Walker. It was first coined in they want to say it was coined when she wrote In Search of Our Mother's Garden. But actually, she wrote it prior to that in 1979 in Coming Apart. And then again, it became popular in 1983 in her book, In Search of Our Mother's Garden. And Alice Walker is not a theologian, nor does she want to be, but she wrote the framework for which womanist theology emanates from. And I want to read her definition to you. And I normally don't like to read in a presentation because it's too many words, but this is important to hear. So what I'm going to ask you to journey with me in is to simply close your eyes while I read what Alice Walker, now remember, what I'm reading is not the theology. This is the definition with which the theology was constructed. We have to pay homage to the origin. So this is what the word womanist means to Alice Walker. Take a deep breath, close your eyes. Womanist, from womanish, original from girlish, frivolous, irresponsible, not serious. A black feminist or feminist of color. From the black folk expression of mothers telling their daughters and female children, you acting womanish. Like a woman, usually referring to outrageous, audacious, courageous, or willful behavior. Wanting to know more and in greater depth than is considered good for one. Interested in grown-up doings, acting grown up, being grown up, interchangeable with another black folk expression, you trying to be grown, responsible, in charge, serious, Also, women who love other women sexually and or non-sexually, appreciates and prefers women's culture, women's emotional flexibility, values tears as natural counterbalances of laughter, a woman's strength, sometimes loves individual men sexually and or non-sexually, committed to survival and wholeness and entire people, male and female. Not a separatist except periodically for health. Traditionally a universalist, as in mama. Why are we brown, pink, and yellow, and our cousins are white, beige, and black? Answer, well, you know, the colored race is just like a flower garden with every color flower represented. Traditionally capable, as in mama. I'm walking to Canada. I'm taking you and a bunch of other folks with me. Reply, it wouldn't be the first time. Loves music, loves dance, loves the moon, loves spirit, loves food and roundness, loves struggle, loves the folk, loves herself regardless. Womanist is to feminist as the color purple is to lavender. You may open your eyes. So when we're constructing something, we look at the foundation is Alice Walker's thinking. And we know Alice Walker most famously for The Color Purple, because she told the story of her ancestors. She was locked in a room in her writing chamber, and she said the ancestors spoke that entire book to her. And what people criticized her and said, why would you tell these stories? We don't talk like that. And she said, well, my grandmother did. Does my grandmother's voice not deserve to exist? So this concept that some of the stories that people don't want to hear about us, based on some of the things that have happened to us, a woman like Alice Walker says they're valid and they deserve to live. And it doesn't matter how uncomfortable it makes someone else. And so these theologians took Alice Walker's definition. Now, I'm going to say, for the sake of my own research, they would take out the part about loves women and loves men because they weren't comfortable with that yet. But I say that we are not asexual beings, that we don't have to dwell on it and spend time there, but I'm also not going to skip over it. So in theology, we're talking about God talk. So in seminaries across the country, we have God talk in the framework of white supremacy and racism. It is embedded in the culture of this nation, so much so that when people go to seminary, they see them so closely related and aligned, like evangelism today, evangelicalism today. They cannot separate the white supremacist races not of God theology. So you have women biblical scholars who study the Greek and the Hebrew. You have women theologians who wrestle with ideas of God consciousness and God conversation, like Dolores Williams did in her book. You have, I have this book here, Katie's Canon, which is a take on Katie Cannon's name, that their writings can become canonized. And what I learned and love most about womanist theology is that it centers our lived experiences in the biblical text. And the biblical text, which is so wonderful about going to seminary, it's not Bible study. I mean, we're really like going into the Greek and the Hebrew. It's not a timeline. It don't go from A, B, C, D, E. It's all over the place. And if you've ever been to some of First Lady's Bible studies, you know it's got murder, mayhem, and all kind of foolishness in there. But you have to sit with it. You have to wrestle with it. And then as spiritual people who have been given the gift of the Holy Spirit, we have to ask God to reveal to us, what is it saying to us today? Because it is what? A living word. It's not stagnant. So whatever was being said back then can be said today in a different way. And what womenist theologians do as theologians, they say that your interpretation, centering yourself in the text, is not only appropriate, it is right. Because God has centered you in God's being, that you are also a reflection of who God is. And so Womanist Theology, this is one of my favorite books. I'm going to share this one. I can go on and on, so I'm going to try to monitor myself. It's called Stand Your Ground, Black Bodies and the Justice of God. And this is by Kelly Brown Douglas. And this book really helped me articulate how American exceptionalism, you know, the mythology they've taught us through our schooling years, that American exceptionalism is integrated within white Eurocentric spirituality. So when you call a white person a racist, the reason it makes them so angry, like, you know, it's because it's woven into their spiritual context. And so you're saying what they believe about God is not true. And it's deep. So this book really helped me put this in perspective and the historical context of how the rejection of the introduction of Protestantism, right, which was a rejection of Catholicism, and then the Puritans came over here, and that whole control of the body. These are cultural norms that they inserted into the religion. And it's so interwoven, when you try to strip one away, you're really saying that you're taking their existence away. When we know that white supremacy and racism is a construct, it is not real. It was something that was created in order to maintain power and structure, right? So when you deconstruct it, it's difficult to separate the racism from the religion. Right? Then you have the iconography from Michelangelo and other European artists, which drew pictures of themselves. He drew a picture of himself and said, "Behold, Jesus." He drew a picture of himself, but we don't know that because we haven't studied it. And so it makes it very clear that when we reject the evil of white supremacy and racism, they're saying we're rejecting God in them, because that is their theology. And most people don't want to admit that. But this book was really, really helpful in helping me to parse that out. And this was written by a womanist theologian. Now, Dr. Smith is a biblical scholar. She's written several books. She edited the book, what is this? True to Our Native Land, which is a biblical interpretation of the New Testament. And then they have one called Stony the Road We Trod. And the latest one is Bitter the Chastening Rod. And so it's a collection of writings by scholars. And they really look at the Greek and the Hebrew and what's being said, but they do it from a womanist lens. So this book is called I Found God in Me, a Womanist Biblical Hermeneutical Reader. And so she looks at various black women in American history. When we think of Sojourner Truth, when we think of Harriet Tubman, we know that she was guided by God. We know that that was God's truth. And God guided her through the woods and the wilderness and berries and water and the moon and the stars to get herself free, and then the desire to go back and get her family and other people. And we know that that's our theology. That what good is it that she was free and her parents were still enslaved? Her sister was still enslaved. So that desire to help others is a part of the womanist definition, that women believe in roundness and community and all of us. My mother was from Alabama. If anybody came over, everybody still had enough food. It was like the more they shared, the more food existed. It made sense when Jesus took 5 loaves and 2 fish. It made sense because black people witnessed that on a regular basis. So what's my job? Hold on, let me go back. So 2 fish and 5 loaves. Here we go. So womanist theology is legitimate, it's academic, it interprets the biblical text, it interprets it from the lens of black women, it collects women's stories like Zora Neale Hurston, who used to sit on the porches in Alabama and Mississippi and Louisiana and just write stories. She wrote the story of the last African who was brought to the U.S. in Alabama, Mr. Kojo, And the people that had the boat that landed in Mobile, they went to jail, and they started a town down in Alabama called Africa Town. Zora Neale Hurston wrote his story. It didn't get published until 90 years later. Alice Walker, her muse is Zora Neale Hurston. She marked her grave. She revived her work. Their eyes were watching God. That's another one. I used to read that in the summer. That was another one of my favorite, because you have to relax your mind to read in black dialect. But this was a way people communicated, and it's valid. So when you take a scholar like Zora Neale Hurston, and then she writes a book in dialect, and she's criticized for it because people want her to be more Eurocentric because of her scholarship. And she says, this is how the people that I talk to talk. And I'm going to speak in their language. And so now they live in perpetuity because she validated their existence. And this is what womanist theology does. It says, for all the marginalized black women, for my grandmother who could only clean the pulpit and never step foot in it, for all the women who've kept and carried the ministry of Christ all these years, your stories are valid. The times when you prayed and a healing came over your child that doctors wouldn't even take them back then. My mother and them didn't go to no hospital when they were little. I said, Mama, what hospital were you born in? She bust out laughing. We was born in a house. My mother was born in 1926. So these stories of survival can be found in the biblical text, and they're connected to black women in America because of the miracle is not, when they talk about COVID and they say the health markers, they talk about our birth rate. It's like, oh, it's just a sad story, and we got high blood pressure and diabetes, and just sad, right? But what if you looked at it differently and say, they tried to take us out, and we still here. We still here. We still here. They tried everything. They separated us from our families. They snatched babies from breastfeeding mothers. They took husbands and wives and separated them. They lynched our people. They still doing it, and we still here. That's the miracle. We're still here because we have a theology, because the God that we believe in is bigger than this madness. The God that we believe in created everything that is. And our interpretation of God is valid. So that's the construction of womenist theology with these scholars that were studying with Dr. Cone, who took Alice Walker's definition of womanist and then added the theological disposition of study, of interpretation, of presentation back to the community. And then it's important to define ourselves like in Kujichagulia, to name ourselves, to define ourselves, to speak for ourselves, because if not, we will be named and defined and spoken for by others. Zora Neale Hurston said it best. She said, if you don't use your own voice, they will kill you and say you enjoyed it. You have to speak up. And so we are not afraid to see ourselves in the biblical text. We're not afraid to see ourselves in conversation with God. We're not afraid to even question the Levitical law, like the daughters of Sephalad, who said, so Moses, like my daddy didn't curse God. And my daddy owned a pond, a river, and a stream. But he ain't have no sons. It's okay. He got 5 beautiful daughters. What we want to know is, can you go into prayer and ask God, Yahweh Elohim, what about us? They had to have courage. And Moses proved that he's a man of God. See, he didn't go on his ego. He didn't go and say, the Levitical law is what the Levitical law say. Like Bull Connor, segregation today, segregation tomorrow. He didn't. He said, oh, Eleazar, let's go into the prayer. And when God spoke to him, he said, the women are right. Black women changed Levitical law. You think we scared of something that's going to try to oppress us? So we have been in the biblical text the whole time. Moses' wife, Zipporah, was an African woman. Her daddy taught Moses how to be a priest out in the wilderness for 40 years. How can you be a priest? How can you be the first priest that ever existed when somebody teach you how to be a priest, and that's the father of the African woman that you married? This is what you find in womanist theology, the research, the scholarship, and then it just blossoms like a lotus. And it says, hello, beautiful. You've been here the whole time. Since the beginning of time, you've been here. So don't let the society or anyone else tell you that your experiences are not valid. That feeling you had that told you not to go over so-and-so house wasn't right. That when you prayed over another person and they were healed, that the power of God was working in you and through you. That the laying on of hands is not real because your grandmothers used to do that. Or as my mother would tell me, she said it was the mourner's bench. And they would sit on the front bench and moan and rock and roll until their change came. That these are valid experiences and expressions of God. And to define yourself is to see yourself. Because there's been so much in life that tried to tell you you didn't need to be seen or heard. I remember growing up and being told pretty little pictures should be seen and not heard. Do you know that psychologically that tells me my voice is not important? So it's taken a lot of deep work, a lot of healing, a lot of counseling, a lot of therapy to say, nah, my voice is valid. I see something, I'm going to say something. So it's important to see ourselves and to define ourselves. And I'm going to end with, mothers are the first teachers. There was a beautiful video that was shown. And for those of you who are blessed enough to still have your mother, cherish every moment. Because living without your mother feels like walking a tightrope without a net. It feels like the rug has been pulled from under you. And sometimes the only way I could even try to imagine is I thought about how old my mother was when her mother died. And what amazing person she was. And I thought, how did she do that? Because it's so challenging. That is a very perfect and beautiful relationship, even when it's raggedy. Because it can be raggedy sometimes. And likewise, when we became mothers, those of us who are privileged to become a mother, it's why I became a doula, because everyone had 33 years ago, they had scared me to death almost. They just scared, oh, it's going to hurt, oh, it's going to kill you, oh, it's going to, people was just tripping. And I was reading books and I was trying to create my own experience. I was away from family. I was living in Panama with Nzinga's dad, who was in the Air Force. And he wasn't very supportive. He said, well, you know, you're a dancer. If they want to cut you, I'm going to let them cut you. So I was like, okay, I got to count him out. So I would meditate and pray, and I read all these books, and I had such a beautiful birth experience. From the time my water broke to birth was 4 hours. My favorite doctor was on call that night. And I really felt like I had went to heaven and seen the face of the Lord and came back to earth. That's how deep it was. And I remember just thanking God, like, you chose me, like, I got to be a mother. Like, I would just be praising God and shouting. I was just having a shout party. And how perfect, how beautiful that experience is. And that truly is a God experience, because it shows you what creation is like. How God is our creator God. And God created and said, it's good. And so when God created you, it's good. It's good. It's all good. And so the mother, our mothers, and the children we get to mother is a continuation of the power of creation. And that only men would teach us that that's a curse. Because there's an envy of that power. As a doula, I tell young women, when you give birth, you are the most powerful and the most vulnerable you will ever be in your life. So who you have around you is important. How you nurture yourself is important. Your body is weak as it will ever be, but as strong as it will ever be. And the delicate balance in there is creation. And the fact that we get to witness that miracle, to be part of that miracle, is so divine and so beautiful. So I thank you for allowing me to spend some time with you and have this conversation. And I look forward to coming back again. God bless you.
Wasn't that good? Ooh, it's like sitting down Thanksgiving all over again, eating all that good food, right? She fed you. I told her Sunday we were sitting next to each other, and I said, you know what? I said, we're overdue for doing things together. We are overdue. We are overdue. You know why? Because we two bad sisters. Okay? Two bad sisters. We know what we're talking about. We know where we're going, and we can take it the right way. Thank you so much. I remember you were doula for Raina. And I sent Raina a text, and I said, Raina, and I told her don't share it, because I was going to write about it. Of course, I have not. But I said, Raina, you're getting ready to have birth, and that's going to be the moment when you and God will procreate together. I said, cherish it, because it doesn't happen. Everybody doesn't get that privilege, and then that's a moment of blessing. It's just awesome. Thank you for bringing it. Thank you for taking it. And you know what? The interesting thing about Womanist Theology is she told you a tip. I'm over there writing notes and coming up with stories about stuff that I could just keep going on and on and on. And I'm like, oh, no. Let me see where I am. And it's interesting. I did invite men to this conversation. Now, the first thing when men hear Womanist, thank you, Edwin, for being here. We appreciate it. Oh, yeah, and shout out to Yolanda Durfield. She texts me. She's on. Sometimes when you say Womanist, they think, oh, we're going to get together. We're going to do an uprising. Well, you know what? I guess you would think that, because when you get a bunch of black women together, something's going to happen. And it's best if you are for us, not against us, because it's going to happen. It is. It's going down. And we know it's going down because we've been doing it for decades, for centuries. For centuries. When mothers were turning around saying things, and you were speaking about the mothers who would lay hands. Did you realize that most of the witches that were burned were black women that came from Africa? Yes, because they were still embodying the spirituality of Africa. And they saw it as being witchcraft. There's so much to this story. But when you're growing up, you're thinking, oh, you need to act and look and be like that little blue-eyed, blonde-haired child. Or you should go get some bleaching cream. And then these ladies come back and they say, no, because when Mama was God, she unpacked things that nobody else could. When Mama is God, she taught me things that I turned around. And when I became an adult, I started teaching and doing and giving and being. And I'm going to tell you, there's a Syrophoenician woman. Go read the story. She gave Jesus some clapback. I know she was black. I know she was black. She gave Jesus some clapback. She said, what you mean? Well, you can give it to the dogs, you can give it to my baby too, and my baby gonna get something today. And guess what? He gave her what she wanted. Because of her determination, because of her resistance. Black women deal with resistance. We deal with being invisible. We deal with being counted out. And only because when you are powerful and they know it, they think they're getting over as long as they think you don't. I thank you for coming out. Look, I try to keep the time. I've been running under Ida Patton. Mama Patton, I hope you watching. Because you're telling everybody, you know, she just went over the 7 minutes. She just went over 7 minutes. That's how she is. She went over 7 minutes. She's supposed to be done. That's all right. We love you, Mama Patton, on 91 years. So it is 8:07. I said we were going to get out at 8. There's some other things that I want to get into. I know tomorrow we're going to talk about imaging. And it's funny because Barry has up that little clip from Coming to America. But the imaging and some of the conversations from Woman King were very powerful. Very powerful. Some of the imaging from Wakanda Forever, I loved it. I loved it. Go get them. Yeah. And then the messages that women give. And we don't give them to just ours, we give them to everybody. Give them to everybody. Does not matter. And we keep moving. I wanted us to have more conversation, so I want you to think tonight about the women, and you know what, I have the woman that inspired you. There were women in my trail. There were women. When I came to fellowship in 1996, I came here, moved here because my mother was sick. So I was trying to help my sister because her babies were toddlers. And so I started coming to fellowship, and you know where the teens used to sit in the back at the old church? I'd sit back there with them. I know people say, what that old woman doing back there with them little kids? Because I knew wasn't nobody paying no attention to them teens. They was back there clowning and acting up, but all I need to do is hear the sermon and go home. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. So then I got hung up with Bettina and Cynthia Warner, and they found out I taught children's church. That was it. It was over. I'll never forget, it was Educator Sunday. We're coming in church. And so I got Miss Patton's with me because we had left Sunday school. And look, I done made up my plan. I'm going to sit back here where I usually sit. I'm ditching out on Miss Patton. Miss Patton, go ahead. And Miss Patton with her little self just hanging in there. Now, Miss Patton had a plan that I had no idea about, and that's black women. Miss Patton had my fur coat, because you know I came from Atlanta, so fur was a necessity, y'all. It was not a fashion statement. It was like I had to wear it. I almost felt like I needed to grow some on my skin. It was so cold when I got up here. She took that coat and she grabbed it and she twisted it. But I didn't even know she had my coat. So I'm trying to go and sit down, right? And my coat says, no, you're not. And I end up going right with her up to the front of the church to sit down. And I said, that's okay, Lord, if that's how you want to do it. But I also have had Miss Patton to walk with me. I've had Miss Patton to talk to me when I become disappointed, when I become so pissed off at people, things, and situations. And she'll say, but you know, we got through this. You're not the first. This happens to more people than you think. Don't give up hope. There's more to this. And guess what? You all are the Miss Pattons for so many people. Summer, I heard what you said, but do you know how many kids you touch? When my niece came here and she went to Vacation Bible School, she was a little girl, she told her mama, because you know how your family, y'all got family. Oh, I shouldn't say that. She might be watching. I love you, Netta. But she told her mama, she said, no, I got to go back. Summer told us to learn this scripture, and I'm going to know it. I'm going to learn it. I said, she did. She was so excited. Black women ignite things. You're like that flame on. And yeah, we have issues. That's okay. But after we start learning how to work within and with each other, some of those issues, just like I said, I was so mad when I was going down, I wanted to kick his head down the street. Miss Pat said, oh, don't be mad at him. And I'm like, yeah, you got our sons. I guess you are going to take up for him. She said, that is not right. I'm like, let me get off this phone. She didn't even let me be mad. And I ended up not being mad because she talked to me. She talked me down. How many times have you had to have people talk you down? And see, y'all ain't seen Connie on the run. Y'all run. If I stop talking, it's over. It's ugly. But that's why we work with each other. Thank you, Cassie, for helping me tonight. Thank you. Thank you, Ashley. A big thanks for Reverend Dr. Mama Maya. You know, actually, when they made the announcement, Rev said that, you know, oh, he said, trying to have no takeover, but y'all know Rev. But he did say something that's very pivotal, that was really important. I have agency here. I get in meetings and I tell them exactly what I think, and it's like watching deer in headlights. But I know I can come here and say what I want to say, how I want to say it. And it doesn't even mean that I have to be right all the time, because you're surrounded by love. But that's what Womanist is. I'm not going to sit up and let you say and think and do what you think you're going to do. And I'm not speaking on behalf of me most times. Half time I could walk out here or wherever I am, whatever space I am, and it won't, I shouldn't say this, I bet people watching, but it won't make a bit of difference. I got me. But a lot of times when I stand up, it's for everybody else, and I'm not afraid. Oh no, because guess what? Me and God make the majority. Boom. Well, tomorrow we're going to talk about imaging. I wish Lizzo was in town. Y'all know I'm bold enough to invite her to come over to fellowship, right? Somebody got her number, send it to me. I hit her up. But there's imaging that we need to pay attention to. We need to pay attention to attitudes. Oh my God. Stop hating women. If she got nice legs and she want to wear that skirt up there, only thing you need to tell her is don't let it get cold up there and think something can get away. Don't let that get away. Cherish what you got. But if you think you look cute, be cute. Don't hate. We're here to appreciate, to celebrate. And guess what? That's what Black church has always been about, because you don't get it in most spaces. In most spaces, they're not even expecting you. And it's after 8:14. So tomorrow I have more. I have videos. I have things I want you all to talk about, some stuff I want you to share. I really would love to know who that person is and why, who those people are. I gave you a glimpse, Miss Patton. But there are more. There's so many women that have gotten me through. Yes, there are women that have gotten me through. Some of them that put me aside and said, you should not have cussed them out like that. I said, they'll never forget. And I brought some books. I'll bring some back tomorrow. And we're going to talk about some things. We're going to talk about some of the ingenious stuff that some of the young women in our community are doing, like Crystal, and some other young ladies that are doing some things. They said that they're going to show up tomorrow. So thank you for coming. Let's close out in prayer, as always. Let me see. Crystal, you look like you want to give me a prayer. Oh, look. You know what? Wait a minute. I'm talking about this crystal. The rest of you other crystals will serve, see. You other crystals are not doing. You other crystals. This crystal. By the way, Cassie keeps holding these up. If you would like it, take it. It was for you to put notes on the back if you needed to. And for those of you who have ever had a workshop with me, you know I usually collect all my stuff. I'm not that good. I'm not collecting these. You get to keep it. Be shy. I know. Look, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I'll be collecting, act like I'm going to stand at the door and frisk you if you take my stuff. Huh? Oh, and there's some on the empty tables. And if you get one, I hope it really resonates with you. If you didn't get one, I have some more. Anyway, let us all stand. All minds and hearts are clear. If anything, I want you to go home empowered. Walk through that door. One day somebody said, you walk like you own something. I said, I do. You just need to recognize. But, I mean, you don't have to be that overt with it. I clown a lot. And then people think I'm clowning. Guess what? Hey, you don't know what's real and what isn't. Would you please bless us with a prayer? I can see it in you. Thank you. I do. That's right. So if everyone would still themselves, and bow
remember those things that were brought to us tonight. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this opportunity to gather tonight in your name. God, I pray that the information that was for us will rest, rule, and abide in us, God. May you always show us how powerful we are as women. May we always live in our truths, God. May you always give us everything we need to say and be loving and kind to each other. May you always continue to guide our steps. We thank you for everything that you've done for us at this time, everything you're going to do for us, and let us take this information and be empowered. Let us do exactly what you want us to do. Not to be boastful, not to be prideful, but to be as powerful Christian women showing love. We ask all of these things in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Okay, go home, be safe, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Oh, I know.
Oh, this is real good.
Yeah.